JK Rowling, this is our last story before the break, has gone out for some time. She's gone out for some lunch, and it seems to have annoyed people.
It's in the Times. She had lunch with Maya Forstater, who she supported in 2009 with a hashtag that kind of set her.
2019.
I'm sorry, you're right. I'm reading it too, and I said that. You're right, 2019, and it set her off on a sort of a journey that she's, really involved in now. And I do wonder why JK Rowling, if you remember, did a hashtag I stand with Maya, and Maya Forstater is someone who made some comments at her work in support of the idea that you cannot change your sex.
Biological sex.
Exactly. And then she also, I was reading about the case, she did also hand out a pamphlet or two in support of her own beliefs at work. And she thinks she lost the position she had within the funding for the company she was working with. They told her that her work had been too narrow. And she said, no, the reason I was fired is because of my beliefs in the situation. She created a sort of a feeling of unsafeness at work.
But what about the lunch, though? That was like 3 years ago.
It was, and they hadn't met, and she'd planned something for Christmas that it hadn't happened. JK Rowling, so finally they had lunch this Sunday in Richmond. And
but it's just two people, just two friends.
No, it was a bunch of people.
There were other people there. Catherine Stock was there.
So this is the one that Suzanne... Moore, as well.
Basically, a bunch of leftist feminists and lesbians
I don't know
standing up for women's rights who have had lunch, meeting up with each other, and the internet, particularly Twitter, has gone totally berserk. They put these photos up, and first of all, the abuse they got, just utterly misogynistic.
So
all about
these are just selfish from the
so all of these trans activists...
Like the kind of stuff you're saying, the abuse right now, is that what you mean? You call them lesbians and left-wing? You don't know their politics at all.
Well, I do know their politics, because I know all of those people very well, and I know exactly what they stand for. And the point is that how is it abusive calling someone left-wing and a lesbian?
No,
that's a statement of fact. My point is...
Susan Moore's not a lesbian.
I didn't say, but she is left-wing. And that's not a bad thing. What I'm saying is that they're being attacked like they're like the most evil human beings ever. And the way they're being attacked is by their looks and the misogyny that's being outpoured by these trans activists.
They've had that.
It's disgusting. We had a comic called Rosie Jones, I don't know if you know, it's a very funny comic, and she said she sees this photo and she was like, oh, it just makes me angry crying about these photos and stuff. When I saw that photo of those women.
Who said that?
There's Rosie Jones. She's a comic. She's sort of newish.
I know her, yeah.
She said, oh, my God, it just made me... I was crying when I saw this photo. It makes me so angry. When I saw that photo, I felt gratitude, because those women, the stand that they have taken over the last few years, at great personal risk, rape threats, death threats, losing their jobs, they have woken up me and many other people to what has been going on and the dangers of the trans movement against women's rights.
But do you not think that... I mean, I saw this story bubbling, and I may have missed some of the abuse they got from the trans people, but the main thing I got was that there was some suggestion that this was what women do and how they triumph. They have lunch and they get together and they talk. And then somebody else said, there are people in Somalia dying of starvation. Not all women can afford to have lunch to sort things out.
They were saying, people look at those iPhones.
Exactly. It seemed to me the most extraordinary attack on... I mean, JK Rowling is very nearly a billionaire, and if she isn't, it's because she's given a lot of it away.
She's the only person who's actually made herself out of being a billionaire by donating to charity.
She's allowed to have a decent lunch with some friends sometimes, isn't she? It's not quite like David Beckham's son's wedding or something.
Old school misogyny, like you're saying.
It does seem to be, doesn't it? It's extraordinary.